It's finally here. Tesla has officially launched the brand new Model Y in the United States, so let's get into it and see why you may want to wait. At this point, you're probably familiar with the Model Y refresh because Tesla already announced this over in China. This is coming in mass out of their Chinese factory as we speak and getting ready for first deliveries. But we weren't sure how long they'd wait to introduce this in the United States. For the Model 3, Tesla had a significant gap between factories and launches of that car, but we thought they may do a different approach this time since the Model Y is so popular. As it turns out, Tesla is very much doing a different approach this time around, and they've announced the launch edition of the brand new Model Y refresh in the United States, with first deliveries beginning in March. Of course, this has those new front and rear light bars that they say are redesigned to increase aerodynamics, efficiency, and range. For the interior, they say wraparound ambient lighting pairs with soft touch finishes, a 15.4-inch touchscreen and ventilated seats. And then from the rear, they have power recline second row seats that fold flat, an 8-inch touchscreen, and it's Bluetooth enabled. Connectivity is improved for better range with the phone key, clearer calls, and faster cellular and Wi-Fi connections. And then likely the most important thing for many people is the retuned suspension. This offers smooth handling, added comfort, more responsive steering, and a quieter ride. Some other things that Tesla points out here are invisible speakers, which create a minimalist aesthetic and deliver maximum audio performance, and then acoustic glass, which keeps road noise out and your music in. The interesting thing this time around, though, for this launch is that Tesla is taking a different approach. They have a launch edition of this car that is actually the most expensive Model Y trim. The Model Y still starts at $44,990 right now for the rear-wheel drive long-range version of the older Model Y. Then they have the long-range all-wheel drive and performance model, but all the way up at $59,990 is the new Model Y long-range all-wheel drive launch series. Deliveries of this particular series will begin in March, and they say that this is a limited release with the reimagined exterior design, refined interior, and it's fully loaded with full self-driving supervised. Full self-driving is $8,000, so it makes up a significant portion of that, and this is kind of the same approach that they took with the launch series of the Cybertruck or the Foundation series. That was a $20,000 upgrade over normal pricing, but it included a ton of accessories and then the FSD package. Here they're doing the same thing, but then part of that upcharge is likely because you're getting the first edition with that first edition badge. So included with this all-wheel drive long-range version of the Model Y is FSD, the acceleration boost, which brings the 0 to 60 down to 4.1 seconds, vegan suede for the black interior, premium textile trim, the rear liftgate launch badge that we've seen out of China, the puddle light badge, door sill plate wordmark, and charging console wordmark. As far as range, many were hoping for a big upgrade here, but it's a very minimal one, basically keeping the exact same battery pack, but then getting upgrades thanks to aerodynamics and efficiency. Right here we can see the old Model Y has a 311-mile range with stock wheels, and the new one has a 320-mile range with those stock wheels. In the United States, the launch edition of this car is available in 4 different colors only. There's stealth gray included, pearl white multi-coat is also included, ultra red is included, and quicksilver is included. So no matter what paint color you choose here, it's included in that full price at $59,990. The same is the case with wheels. You can get the Crossflow wheels, which are 19 inches, or you can get the 20-inch Helix 2.0 wheels, and those get a 303-mile range. Wide interior is an included upgrade, and so is the tow package. So overall, you can make this a pretty good value. Consider the fact that you can get the $59,990 launch series of this car, but you can upgrade it to Quicksilver, which is usually $2,000. You can upgrade the wheels, which are usually $1,500 to $2,000, and you can upgrade the interior, which also is usually around $1,000 to $2,000. Deliveries of this car are set to begin in March, but in the meantime, Tesla is trying to sell off their inventory. They even have a compare models button right here, and then at the top of the page, it now says Inventory Model Y available now, explore reduced pricing. So this seems to be Tesla's way of eliminating the Osborne effect. There aren't going to be people necessarily waiting for the next version of this car because it's already out, but it's actually more expensive, at least for the time being. If you want to get the old Model Y and clear out some of their inventory, you can do so by still purchasing that car at a lower price, and then you can view inventory to get them even cheaper. I think this approach is going to be much better than when they launched the Model 3. That Model 3 had at least a 4 to 6 month gap before coming to the United States, so a lot of people were just waiting for that new car because it was so much better. In reviews, it's proving to be a lot better, and the same will likely be the case with this updated Model Y. But here, you actually have a clear choice of upgrading to that car if you want. It's just more expensive for the time being. As far as specs, there are a couple things that we can note for the United States that we now have confirmed. First is that the range is about 2.8% more than before at 320 miles, and then the ground clearance is actually a little lower at 6.6 inches as opposed to 6.8 inches in the old Model Y. Those are United States specs, but over in Europe, this also has launched. So for the most part, all markets that sell the Model Y can now order this brand new version in its launch edition. Over in China, this is replacing the old Model Y, and there's multiple different versions of that, including this launch version. But out of Europe and in the United States, this is the only version that you can get, the launch edition. So that raises the question, how long is this going to be around? Well, for the Cybertruck, it took about a year before they ran out of Foundation Series people, meaning people willing to pay that upcharge for the Foundation Series. Demand there ran out, and then soon the Cybertruck was actually readily available for anyone that wanted it. Many may expect the same to be the case for the Model Y here, and depending on how long it takes them to scale up, this could be the case, at least for a period of time. But the scale of the Cybertruck compared to the Model Y is significantly different. Tesla sells more Model Ys than any of their cars by a large margin, so I think they'll be scaled up on this car very quickly, and then likely run out of customers as well who want to pay up for the launch series. I say that to say it may be a good time to wait. I talk about this a lot on this channel, but the first edition of any Tesla is usually the one that's more expensive and worse built. The further down the line you get with VINs of the Model Y, their build quality improves because Tesla is constantly iterating and improving on things. It will likely be a lot better this time around with the initial Model Y than it was the first time around. And we've seen that with the Model 3 out of their Fremont factory as well as their Chinese factory. But no matter what, it will get better in time, and then the price will likely come down as demand drops for this car. And I don't mean drops off a cliff, I just mean it will slow down for people willing to pay up $60,000 for the Model Y. The thing that may unfortunately be smart to practice here though is patience. Tesla has done this many times and basically does this with every single car that they launch. They launch it at a higher price point because they know people will pay for that. But in time, that price does come down and specs sometimes even improve. Here, this is a special edition version of this Model Y, so if those upgrades are worth it to you, maybe it's totally worth buying. If you were already going to get things like a tow hitch and the Quicksilver paint and whatnot, get this version because FSD is included and you'll get it right away. But a part of what you're paying for here is the excitement of getting the first edition of this car, and this is a car that Tesla plans to scale up massively. This is the best-selling car in the entire world. So in time, the price is going to come down below this, and you will probably be looking back a few months staring at the fact that you paid $10,000 to $15,000 more for your car. Maybe that's absolutely worth it for you, and that totally makes sense. But for some people, patience may be smart here. It may be smart for you to wait. At the same time, the tax credit situation is up in the air, and this car still does qualify for the full $7,500 tax credit if you qualify. So it's always tough to perfectly time your Tesla purchase, but it does seem like even though this is launching in the United States, if you're trying to get the best deal right now or getting delivery in March, probably won't be that. In time, prices will probably come down, and the launch edition will depreciate. One recent example to talk about there is the Foundation Series Cybertruck. This was the initial series of the Cybertruck for about a year with that $20,000 upcharge. And then, once that year came up, Tesla was actually offering unlimited supercharging with Foundation Series Cybertrucks to help clear out that inventory. That's still going on right now and is available through January 31st, and is one of those deals that really makes people, like myself, who bought a Foundation Series Cybertruck, wish they would have waited, because that's a very, very good deal. We likely won't see something like that for launch series versions of this new Model Y, especially since it will have such a larger scale and so much more demand, but it's a good example of why waiting sometimes is the smart move. But for many people, it's still well worth it. So in one sense, this is very exciting. We're finally getting this new Model Y in the US, the refresh is here, and we'll see first deliveries in March. On the other side, it's a little disappointing because many probably wanted the rear-wheel drive version of this car right out of the gate, but it seems like we're going to have to wait at least a little bit for that. The question is just how long. My guess here is that from now in January, it might be about 6 months until we see the base model of this new Model Y get launched. The platform has largely remained the same. There's no 800-volt architecture. There doesn't appear to be bidirectional charging or anything like that. It's basically the same Model Y we've had for years in terms of charging performance and general range and functionality. It's just a much, much better build, it has better ride quality, and it has many more features that make it much more refined. Now that this car is officially announced in the US, we'll start getting a lot more detailed information about it. Reviews are already out, and we can see them from people like Kyle Connor, but one detail we can now see is that front bumper camera. That is officially confirmed on the Model Y, and it's actually launching on that car in the United States. The reason I emphasize that is because the Model 3, when it was announced, that refresh, it had pictures of a front bumper camera, but didn't actually launch with that. Tesla actually removed that camera from those photos and did not launch that car with a front bumper camera, but for the Model Y, it's actually there this time. And we can also see it has a sprayer/washer included within it to clean off debris. That's kind of the same one they have on the Cybertruck front bumper camera. Another cool improvement it looks like Tesla has done is for the glass roof, which typically gets very hot in hot climates. Reportedly, the Model Y has about 7 times better heat rejection than before, and they say there is no need for aftermarket sunshades. This is apparently thanks to a new silver coating within the tint there. Tesla has released a lot of new photos as well as videos of this car, and I'll be sure to dive into all of the reviews to get you the latest details. In the meantime though, this is the brand new Model Y launch series coming to the United States starting in March, and I'm very excited to finally see this car out on the road. At this point, I'm very glad to see updates to all of Tesla's vehicles and see ventilated seats be standard across the board, as they really should be in these price points. There's many other features like that that are now standard, and one big change Tesla has officially made in the Model Y, including the Model Y in the US, is the inclusion of a turn signal stalk on the left side of the wheel. For many people, this was actually preventing them from purchasing a Tesla, so Tesla made a very smart move here to give people what they want in order to buy their car going forward, and it seems like a very practical, smart move on their part. I think this will be an incredibly popular car, but at the same time, many will be disappointed that we didn't see any big changes here. I think all of this will put the Model Y into a really great spot when prices return to normal, and I'm very excited to see it. What are your thoughts on the Model Y launch series in the United States, though? Leave a comment to let me know. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching this video, and if you want to check out the latest for the new Model S refresh that's expected, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.